Please share the information provided in this video. Always remember that a crucial part of removing a person's confusion is understanding his or her unique source of it. This video is about 5 secrets of skateboarding, or myths, or just misunderstandings that people have, and just things that are true about it that no one knows. So, yes, I love to skateboard. I've been doing that since forever. And let's just get right to it. The first one is it's not that dangerous. And I'll give you a link to the stats, but from the United States Journal of Trauma, Injury, Infection, and Critical Care, 2002 published on a study done of sports and emergency room visits in 1998. For every 1,000 participants in basketball, there were something like 20 emergency room visits. For every 1,000 participants in football, there were slightly less, but about the same amount. For skateboarding, it was about 9.8, I think, or something like that, somewhere between 9 and 10. So yeah, and in fact, bicycling was actually higher. And part of that is because you don't actually have to do anything on a skateboard that you don't want to do. So there's no one who's on defense whose job it is to mess you up. You're just doing your thing, and you don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. So you kind of go at your own pace at what you feel okay with. And you typically don't get super fast, but like on a bicycle, it's pretty easy to get over 30 miles an hour. Let's see, I don't know what else makes it safer. Just the fact that you build an ever-growing skill set that, so when you see someone on TV, jumping down a huge stair set and doing a big flip or a big grind or some balling thing, like, your average skater that you know is not doing what you see the pros do on TV. And if he did, he would get his head knocked off. If you did, you would get your head knocked off. But like, if you or I played in the Super Bowl, we would get our heads knocked off too. And part of the problem is, like, other sports, they compete against other super good athletes, and you don't really realize how much better they are than anyone you will ever know. And it's this with skateboarding, like, they're competing basically against the board and against like the obstacle or whatever trick they're doing. So you kind of get more of a feel for how impressive a professional athlete actually is in that sport. And so, you feel like, oh, if I would do that, I would die. Like, you don't have to do that. You can just hop on the board and roll. And in fact, 1 in 3 injuries happens within the first week. You feel like so uncomfortable on the board, but you kind of get basic comfort down. Let's go on to the next one. It's not to impress you. And this is something I've seen people think, like, you do that so other people can look at you and go, ooh, ah, like it's a circus act or something, like it's a show. And all those skaters, we appreciate, anytime someone likes what we do. And a big part of the sport just is, watching other people skate. Like, that's just as much a part of the sport as just skating, because we skate for other people to see, like, but it's not really so that other people can think we're awesome or like super cool. And this is something that a lot of people don't realize when they don't skate, is that, like, when you learn to do something, it's actually really, really, really fun to just do it, even when no one's looking. And like, a lot of people who skate, they kind of get in their zone and they kind of are just tuning people out. They just want to skate, and like, they just really like to do it. And that's something that if you don't learn to do anything on your board, you don't really experience that. You have no idea, I guess. It's like just getting on your board and just going is fun. And then when you ollie, and you actually float over something, that's really fun. I remember the first time I learned to just 50-50 like a round flat bar. It felt so good. It just feels so right, especially when you do something like proper. And it just feels like amazing to do something, proper and just fast and popped and good, and like, it's just fun. And then, like, when other people are psyched on it, your sight on it. And then like a lot of times when you skate, like you feed off one another. We'll get to that in a minute. It either looks too easy or too hard. Yeah, that's just a general rule. If you don't skate and you look at skateboarding, if you look at it and you see someone do something and you think, oh, that's easy, it's probably hard. And if you look at someone do something and you think, oh, that's really hard, it's probably a lot easier than you think. So like on a vert ramp, and you see a guy do a backside air, 6 feet up out of the ramp and come back in, you probably think that's easy. He just rode up there and turned around and came back down. Like, no, that's super hard. Like, most guys don't even mess with that. But you see someone like kickflip over something, not necessarily that big, and you're like, whoa, you see what he did? The board flipped around, whoa, and people just like little kids like, hooray, like, that's probably not as hard as the backside air on a vert ramp. A lot more people can do that, kickflip over something, than they can backside flip a vert ramp. So yeah, there is that kind of misunderstanding. 90% of the time, whatever you think's easy is not, and whatever you think's hard is actually easy. So yeah, or easier. Anyway, number 4, it's a sport without all the macho silliness. That's not completely true. There's always macho silliness whenever there's dudes around. But other sports have like a scoreboard, and they kind of, the basis of most sports is to hold other people down. We get right down to it. Your goal is to make other people lose, and so that's how you win. And you can play a head game where you make someone feel like a loser, and then you'll become a winner. So if someone's defeated mentally, then they'll probably lose. Like in football, then what do they say? 80% mental, and the rest physical or something. And 30% physical. It's like doesn't add up, but who cares? Well, in skateboarding, there's not really a motivation to make other people feel like they suck, because that doesn't make you a winner. And so it becomes this thing you just do, and you're just trying to do your thing. And when other people do well, you tend to feed off that, actually. In fact, it's generally speaking, the skaters who have good attitudes are usually like the best skaters. The people who are positive and encouraging, like, just fun to skate with, they tend to be like the best guys. The only guys who are like a pain to skate with are like the guys who like work real hard and have like 3 or 4 tricks they do that they're like real good at, and they'll just talk about how awesome they are and about how much everyone sucks, because there's no scoreboard, so they just have to talk about it. And everyone's like, oh, that guy, here he comes, because so someone with like a competitive attitude that would like cheat in other sports, that kind of comes out and becomes super obvious in this sport. And all the need to bully and like hold people down and stuff, like, it's just, there is no need for that. It just, how did that help you? So it creates kind of a cool environment. The only problem usually is when someone's like, this is my spot, you can't skate here, this is our spot, and that kind of thing. Or if someone is just a genuinely cocky person, like, they'll just run their mouth about how great they are, but it's like super obvious. It's not like in other sports where it's like keep running reps, like you can't keep running reps, like, because it's, there is no real way to cheat other than just to convince people that you're awesome. And then the last one is that this is a sport that's for any type of person, and people tend to think like I have to be some like punk rock delinquent criminal to do this sport, like. So it's amazing. Like, you take a basketball, you got a rubber ball, and you're throwing through a metal hoop, and people are like, oh, you're a good, fine young man. You've got a funny shaped oblong ball, and you're throwing it and then wrestling guys to the ground. Oh, you're a fine young man. But if you like have a piece of plywood with 4 wheels on the bottom and you're rolling around on it. Ah, hooligans, get them out of here. We gotta ban this. What are we gonna do about this? How can we stop this? And the reality is that the sport is so popular today. I think it's 1 in 3 Americans under 20, I think. Basically, young men. Yeah, well, no, that's wrong. It is the 3rd most popular sport with Americans under 20. Or I think under 25 or something like that. I can put the stat up there for you. But the point is that with that many people doing the sport, it's 1 in 25 Americans, that's what it is. But with that many people doing the sport, there's just no way that it's one type of person. It's too big to be, only a certain type of person. So that's something to keep in mind. And with that said, I hope you found this video informative and enjoyable. Thank you for your time. I do want to look up that stat for you real quick. Let's see if I can find it. Aha. We're waiting for it to open up. 3rd most popular sport with American teenagers. I just remembered it. Yeah. And here it is. According since 2004, it's the 3rd most popular sport with American teenagers, according to the SGMA, Sporting Goods Manufacturers Association. Now, it has decreased in popularity since 07, since the new report. It was like 04 to 07 report, then it was 07 to 2012 report. But it seems to be settling out at the 3rd most popular with teenagers. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you for your time.